haven't really received that much ice or that freezing rain that a bunch of our neighbors up in northwest Mississippi have received so far, but it's still having an effect like this on us, and it's not over. I know a lot of us in Starkville or the Golden Triangle region are guilty of thinking, hey, we're not really in the thick of it. We're not really expecting much. This has been a bust so far. Well, it hasn't really reached us yet. The models keep showing some more freezing rain overnight, but going into tomorrow. So just showing that the little we received earlier really going as prominent. We're going to see more kind of occur tomorrow morning and into tomorrow. So definitely something to keep in mind as we get ready for the hours and how that little already has an effect on us today. So this threat is not over, especially us down here in the eastern portion of our and we still need as we continue heading into these hours. But wanted to update here. Thankfully, not really seeing many more limbs or anything fall here. Heard one snap as I walked out here, but not really that big of a deal as of right now.
Okay, so meteorologist Caleb Edelblut, you've had a very long day. Go in, get some rest. Thank you so much. You know, a lot of the posts you've seen from us on Facebook today have been Caleb doing the hard work there as well. You're shot in and out, and I do, again, wonder if you're off of Wi-Fi, if that's, you know, with some of the power outages, if people are kind of starting to overload what's going on with the system there, and I do think that that unfortunately could be. And we're looking here just to the west of Caleb's location, kind of close to Adenton. Camera there, you can see kind of in the light, coating of ice, fairly decent size one. And if you look at what the initial width of that bar was on this tower there, we've almost doubled it potentially on some spots there. That's where we again start having some issues. And the ice has most certainly started to add up in some locations. I'm going to bring up our chat here. So we've got a very robust chat of people talking about a number of different things. We do appreciate all of you that have shared your photographs with us, in some cases of things that are not very good. And that would be Brooke's situation here. Brooke sharing this shot from Guntown. This is a tree, and this is what happens to trees when you add ice to them. They get rough. I mean, you can see this, like, I don't know what it looked like before, but that looks like that's hanging awfully open there and pulling down on that. So I, you know, that's the weight of these icy trees. There's a beauty to it, and there's definitely not all at the same time. You guys have just sent in so many different pictures, some happy, some less than, but all with, you know, quite a bit of ice out there. I mean, and it just, you know, it's really all over the place. And that's why I gotta give you guys and gals credit on this. Because if I kind of widen this out, you know, it does consolidate the numbers as we widen out, but we're talking probably about 1,000, if not more than 1,000 pictures you guys have sent us from different sections of the region. And just thank you so much for doing that. We will go through a few more of those here in a minute. I don't want to, you know, absorb all of this first part of the broadcast with that. So we come back here again to Mississippi Live Mama Justice Doppler radar, and we are looking in at this instant here in and around Starkville, where we go. He's in one of those dry slots, but there's more moisture kind of coming in from the west. And the challenge really to figure out is this liquid, is this going to freeze into a solid once it makes contact with the ground? You know, you can see here the last couple scans, all of a sudden, again, the modeling that kind of feeds the way this works behind the scenes jumps way north on the temperature. I'm just not sure that that is valid. And we're going to have to check out a couple of sky cams. Everything else we do kind of starts with where is that freezing line, and is the air charging, the warmer air trying to charge northward. Very little visibility in Winona at this time. Ice, of course, over top of the lens. You can see some refraction of the light from other blinking lights. That's blinking back and forth awfully fast, unless it's just capturing one power blinking in one spot and one another, and just kind of both refracting there. Either way, we've just had a fairly heavy band of something, which is probably additional ice, because that has been the flavor of the day. That has moved through the Winona area again. Our thoughts and prayers with folks there in Winona, Kosciuszko, where we largely, for a good chunk of today, avoided the icing. Still good visibility. We have some glossiness on the ground there. The Kosciuszko, while also close to 32, must be 32 and a half. 32 and below, it's freezing. You get just above that, and potentially you're in a little bit better shape. Again, some showers there around Kosciuszko, largely coating in green. Ackerman, as we're looking again, we're, you know, really poking and prodding this, looking for where that freezing line is. And that, interestingly enough, Again, we're probably in one of the showers there in Ackerman. Give me a moment to go back to radar, and we're going to actually come back to this here in just a second. That shower of whatever that is in Ackerman. So that's what's, I think, is kind of messing with our view. It almost looks foggy. And that's not impossible because we have some warmer air trying to enhance things. It'd be a frozen fog if it was that. Either way, roads should not be traveled. You should be staying in. And certainly the trees and the icing we have on power lines. I mean, I see, folks saying power out in Ames and power out, in a lot of different places with this. And unfortunately, that is going to be the mantra of the evening. Who has power, who doesn't. We'll look up toward West Point as we're kind of looking at this. And again, we appreciate you guys for your support and for supporting those people that support us here on Mississippi Live Weather outside of West Point. Again, some of those showers. I don't have any icing on the lens there. You've been in better shape than in locations even just to your north. And the up there in Mississippi, Aberdeen, in the foreground, you can see the icicles on the lens there. You're also right on that freezing line. In fact, all these Monroe County reporting stations are pretty much right on that freezing line, sitting at basically 32 degrees with, again, another round of showers that at least on, that's probably fog. I've seen it in enough shots here that we have like a fog. It's interesting. I could make an argument here that it's possible that the fog's a good thing. It's a sign of trying to force more moisture and more warm air in here. And, I mean, if it's a frozen fog, obviously it's not a good thing. But if we're 33, it's a sign that the warmer air is finally trying to win in some spots there. Obviously, we're watching, and again, some power outages kind of building up there in Amory, as we were talking about a moment ago. And then up in Smithville, no ice on that lens there. But we have the drips, we have the showers, and of course, a lot of power still on there in the Smithville area. Coming up to Tupelo and checking things out there as we kind of cross back over into Lee County. We're going to wait for this camera. It should start updating here in a second. A lot of power still on and showers moving through. I'm actually going to take the time to pan this camera, if you give me a moment. So I want to see if there's some ice on there that perhaps we are missing. So I'm going to kind of pan this camera a little bit. I'm going to swing it over toward the tower. And as we do that, to kind of go over to the right. Nope, we're not going to the right because that camera is frozen in place, isn't it? Nope, we unfroze it. Let's see if we go back to the right. Oh, it's jumpy, but we're moving. Again, kind of looking at the tower there, I don't see a ton of ice on the tower. It is not happy. The movement on that. Just like other things out there, everything else out there, this is just about frozen in place. I hope I don't freeze it, pointing right at the tower. All the storm chasers with North Mississippi storm chasers get on to me for that one there. But as we kind of swing this around, now I'm looking more toward the northeast. Again, foggy, but I see still a lot of lights on. So in and around Lee County, we do have some power outages. Most of them have been isolated, and that's the way it typically works in this situation where, and that's what takes so long to get the power back on. If it's just one big line, they can usually fix that pretty quickly. But if you have a bunch of little power outages, and Gabe will be showing this coming up here in just a little bit when he shows that Tom Bigby Electric Power Association map, it's just very sporadic. It's spotty. It's all over the place where there are those issues. So again, back here to Mississippi Live Weather Radar, now we've kind of had an assessment of where we're doing what. And my opinion is that we do, I think, have some warm air kind of charging northward on the east side of this a little bit, and at least aloft trying to eat into it. We talked about a snow eater quite a bit over the course of this week. Obviously, we have not had much in the way of snow. We didn't expect much in the way of snow. But let me think if I get this to kind of pan for me there. Again, back to the south and west, additional, sleet and freezing conditions. And for folks back here in the Delta, it just has been kind of a rough go of it. We go to Greenville for a moment, and I'll go down to Rolling Fork and see if that camera's even working. But I mean, it is a coating all over the ground. But you will note there's not icicles in front of the lens there, and we don't have as much ice draped off of some of the lines. They have been cold enough. You're 23 there in Greenville, that you're cold enough that a lot of what we had has refrozen. And because it's refrozen after it melts and refreezes back into sleet, it's less likely to put stress on the lines as the freezing rain. So unfortunately, again, we do still have the ice there, but we have, And that camera's even moving just a little bit, by the way, a sign of the wind, something we don't want because you take frozen lines plus some wind there, and then we have some bigger issues. So again, I'm walking through these cameras, and there's a purpose for that, trying to see who's in the worst shape. Because if you've watched us at all, you know that that is the way we assess it. Obviously, frozen over there. We've had enough ice at some point there with the visibility down in Shelby. We've kind of been locked into that for quite a while. And then up in the Clarksdale area, looking at the trees. Those trees, I don't see a lot of limbs on the ground at this point, so maybe in better shape than some other folks out there. Now, of course, there have been quite a few reports as we kind of work here around the globe, as it seems like, but checking to see who's worst. Batesville, we've had some reports of, obviously some significant icing in and around Panola County there. And speaking to the next camera here, 25 there in Batesville. So the cold air, this is a battle occurring right overhead, trying to move this line. Very little visibility in Oxford. I pull up Oxford. We do have a number of reports from there from official sources. I'm going to go back and give some of these. We spoke this morning with Bo Moore, with the emergency manager there in the fake. Small trees reported across the roadway on County Road 217 and 238 at 9:46 this evening at 9:50. Large tree limbs in the roadway on County Road 415. And let's be honest, that's probably the case for many other folks there as well. Because a lot of folks just kind of asking, about trees, asking about power outages. Unfortunately, we expect that more tree limbs are going to come down. More power outages are going to occur. Pontotoc County, again, a lot of power outages there. A lot of this camera looking fairly dark. By, grace alone, we still have some visibility. But you notice how you kind of see that glow? I think that is that fog out there. And we're hoping to get at 32 degrees that maybe it is just slightly above freezing as opposed to just slightly below that threshold. The last camera is, again, we've kind of worked our way through almost the entire network that we have with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers. Still up there in Alcorn County. Not quite as much freezing rain up there, but the trees, still hard to tell. But you can tell they're definitely coated in ice this evening. So, as we look again through our kind of wide shot here from up in Tennessee all the way back, how far is this snow and ice and everything else range? We're basically not quite from coast to coast, but just about. You look closely over there in the Yucatan Peninsula. That's moisture from the Stain Source system that already has it out there in the Atlantic. So we continue to anticipate on the wide shot here that significant icing will continue through the overnight time period. We do expect power outages will occur. And as you power outages, I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but I certainly give you permission to not watch us because you need to keep your phone powered and charged and ready to go. We have battery backups here at the Lawpon household, and that's one of the things that I'll be relying on. We have an electric truck that has battery backup. I'll be relying on that. So my phone can get away with being on 64%, but yours can't. We need to make sure it's plugged in and practice what I preach. The only reason it's 64% is I've been plugging it all day long. So I'm going to plug it in, and hopefully you've done the same because power outages are likely to continue. But looking back toward the west, a lot more to go on this storm system before it kicks all the way out. And one of those factors with this big curled up low pressure center we have here, that warm air charging northward, what we call that snow eater trying to force the freezing line north. And we will look in detailed fashion about that in a minute. But I want to draw your attention to all of these kind of blobs down here, the reds and that is the combination of rain and storm activity down there. And that is that convective, that potential for the thunder sleet, thunder snow, thunder not good. And notice how down toward Jackson, these get pretty hefty there. Back toward Winnsboro, back on the other side of the state line, and then all the way up Greenwood, possibly Grenada, Kosciuszko. It is thunder something. Let's pray it's thunderstorms and not thunder sleet or thunder freezing rain. Now, what we need to note about this here, it's not inconceivable to have a damaging wind gust with this as it moves in. But notice how there's a line of thunderstorms that develops ahead of that front, and severe weather, and believe it or not, a tornado or two are possible with this system as it pushes away. This thing's developing, wrapping up right overhead, and it's going to try to wrap around some cooler air that's going to stick around for a while. You can see 1:30 tomorrow. Hopefully, God willing, most of the precipitation has started to exit the area, and we do anticipate that as we go into the latter part of the day, and as that moves on out, that things should straighten up a bit. So over the next 24 hours, it will be cold within a few degrees of the freezing point. It is the lottery, and I pray that you win and you end up just warm enough, or so stinking cold it's not freezing rain. You just don't want in the middle. So 32 at 6 a.m. We're 31 degrees by 9, 32 at noon. Again, we are flirting with the freezing point through that entire time frame there. And then after this kind of low lifts out, takes the thunderstorms with it, we drop 23, 6 p.m., 20 at 9 p.m. Winds pick up. This is not good because there are so many ways that we could have problems. The ice and all the accumulations bring stuff down now. Additional ice overnight that then brings stuff down overnight. And if we get lucky enough that everything stays in place by then, as those winds could pick up on the backside of this, then we start knocking things down as well. And oh yeah, dangerous cold is ahead. Listen, I know I'm the bearer of all different sorts of bad news tonight, but we're going to talk through the latest on ice accumulations. We're going to look at roadways out there. We're going to talk more about power outages. We're going to look at your pictures. And I guess ultimately we're going to get through this as Mississippi Live Weather continues here from the Room Drew Weather Center, coming up in 60 seconds.
As we move into storm season, here's something most homeowners don't realize after a storm. Roof damage isn't always obvious. Wind can lift shingles, breaking the seal. Hail can bruise them below, and flashing around chimneys and pipes can loosen without you ever knowing. That damage may not show up for months. If your area has strong wind or hail, a professional inspection will clarity before small damage turns into bigger problems.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobhon.
Significant winter weather impacts remain likely as we progress throughout the overnight hours and into your Sunday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobhon. You're watching Mississippi Live Weather Ice Storm 2026. Now, I don't know how it's going to compare to 94. I don't know if I've ever said 1994 on the air in my time here in Mississippi, because I just know what it conjures up for folks. But, it's hard not to have comparisons. This is one of the, we talked, I think, to Randy Skinner there in Calhoun County. And again, that was the benchmark. He didn't say we'd hit the benchmark again, but he said this was one of the more significant he had seen since. And we're not over yet. So extreme icing, again, continues to be possible in this pink area here, one of the most likely places in the entire country to have major issues. For some of us, we are past the peak. For others of us, that peak is unfortunately still ahead. So we're continuing to kind of assess how everything's playing out. Our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, has been watching, again, traffic cameras. Just a reminder, as Gabe, as we've said all day, no one should be out there on the roads. I don't really see many people out on the roads. They're definitely not getting any better overnight.
No, and if you've been trying to drive during the day, well, if we can tell you anything, please don't be on the roads at night. Things are cooling off. They're actually as warm as they're going to get on Sunday for the start of the day, gradually diminishing as the day goes on, and those cold temperatures are going to freeze everything that's on the surface right now. And if you're like my house, there's a whole bunch of water to freeze. So taking a look outside right now, this is in West Point, which is part of the 4-county crew. And we'll look at that in just a moment because that's key to the next story that I'm about to tell. But if you look at the roadways out there, West Point's just seeing that saturated roadway right along Highway 45. Hopefully it remains water. As of right now, temperature's allowing it to do so. But if we get into those Sunday hours and there's still this amount of water on the roads, it's going to be an icy impact moving forward. Now, I mentioned 4-county. 4-county actually posting this on their Facebook page earlier on today. This is a look at one of their trucks. I don't know the exact location that it happened, but their post basically saying, if I can pull it up right here, would it load in? We know it is frustrating for members who may be without power tonight, but these pictures show the main reason why we will not be working all night. Trees are starting to break from the weight of the ice, and at least one of our trucks has been hit by a falling tree. Thank you for your patience and consideration for our safety. That is 100% correct, and everyone does need to be staying safe tonight, and that includes first responders and power crews. Now, we can't control power outages. That just happens based off of the weather, but we can control driving, and that's going to prevent first responders to have to respond out in the community, get out on those roads. So we want to make sure that we're doing our part to keep people safe, but Matt, it seems like my green screen might have fallen off, but I do want to note that, this is pretty insane when we're talking about the 4-county crew having to deal with thousands of outages so far. Oh.
No. Gabe. Well, hey, Gabe, if it's all good, appreciate all your hard work. He's gone. Well, so I can tell you we just had a power outage in South Tillow because Gabe's now gone. So as you can see, you're not alone in this whole process here. Our meteorologist Gabe Maynor reporting. Thank you so much, Gabe, even though I can guarantee you didn't get to hear me. Give me a second. I'm going back to that Gabe shot for a moment. And I want to just, there's something I want to point out about that.